Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Not so tough, but mans keep walking. Yeah, just too sharp with the prize. White girls, let it tell me I'm awesome. Yeah, hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
Hello, everybody. It's Izzy Gutierrez. I think you guys know I think you guys know here anyway, that I'm very much not somebody who likes to ruffle any feathers, don't like to make any waves, just want to fit in and keep things moving, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
So given that I'm here on a Friday and Stugotz is here, I don't want to interrupt or do anything different than the lazy river that is expected via the Stugotz hosting show, right?
Yeah.
Here's my problem with the lazy river, though. And I don't know if anybody else has seen this.
You have a problem with a lazy river?
Feathers are being ruffled now.
Here we go.
Wow.
You guys been here 5 minutes and
Wow.
you reinvent the wheel.
So allow me to... It's the actual lazy river, though. It's not the lazy river of this show. Because I saw a reel lately, and it's probably not true, but this gentleman was trying to prove that the smell that we grew up remembering public pools of, like that heavy chlorine smell or the one that you go to a water park these days, is not just water with the heavy chlorine. It's water with heavy chlorine with ample amounts of urine in it. And that's the only way it gets that smell. Because he did two. He did one bucket with just the same level of chlorine and water, and another with that same level of chlorine and water, but with, a cup full of urine in it. One smelled like absolutely nothing.
Right.
And the other one smelled like a public pool. And I have not been to a pool since then because it is so gross. And I know it's maybe the chlorine doing its job, but I still don't love the idea of, that person right next to me might be urinating at this very moment, and I have no idea if it's going to reach me before that chlorine does its thing.
I mean, it's the whole point of the chlorine being in there, isn't it?
It is, but there's also the whole point of the toilet being up outside of the pool, so you don't have to do it inside of the pool. And I guarantee a lazy river, lazy is in the title, people aren't getting up to go to the bathroom.
So what's the process here if you're the guy doing this quote-unquote experiment? You're just like in your bathroom pissing in a cup and your wife or your friend, whoever, is like, what is that for? And you're like, oh, it's for science. And then you take your little piss cup outside and you pour it in a bucket.
I mean, I do that every time I go take my labs at a doctor's office. It's not that strange. It's a little warm. Not that strange.
Science is for everybody. Everybody can do science at home. Just so we saw like this.
Are you guys always embarrassed when you do the urine test at the doctor's office and you have to walk it back through the hallway?
Wait, oh my God, Stugotz. I was at the doctor a couple weeks ago and someone spilled their piss all over the ground.
Oh, no.
What?
And I saw it happen. Oh, it was terrible. The woman was handing it to the lab person and then someone walked by and bumped her and it spilled everywhere. It was so uncomfortable. And the woman was like, it's all right, I'll clean it up. And they're like, no, it's okay, we got it. And then I saw her walk back over to her husband and she's like, I just spilled my pee all over the floor.
Did it smell like a public pool?
I didn't smell anything, but everyone in the waiting room was just sitting there like, oh no, oh my God, it's
You're
everywhere.
supposed to put a cap on that thing. And I get embarrassed, not necessarily because when I hand it over, it's still warm, but I get embarrassed depending on how dark my urine is. Because it's like, ooh, this person.
They're judging you?
Yeah, it's
Drink
like,
more
drink
water,
some water for crying out loud. This guy might be an alcoholic. By the way, it's perfect with a lazy river flow, and the first topic is toilet talk.
Yes.
Right around without Dan.
Yes.
Pulled his hair out, by the way.
I have used a lazy river as my personal toilet, so I apologize to you, especially the one at the Atlantis. I mean, you're on a lazy river. You got to go.
Stu, the bathrooms are for number 2.
Right.
Right? Like you see the bathrooms
Thank
up there,
you.
they're for number
come
2.
on.
You know
you.
everybody else is
Yep.
doing number 1. It's
Yep.
part of the charm of a lazy river, of a public pool. You know that once you walk in, you're family.
No.
Yes.
That is
We're
not
all
how people are
Izzy,
made
if
family.
me
Olive
and
Garden
you
or
are at a public pool, just know we're family.
It's the new Olive Garden slogan.
If we're at a
When
swim
you
up bar
pee,
together,
your family.
If we're at a swim up bar together, and me and you've been drinking beers and hanging out, and none of us have gotten up in
Right.
2 hours,
All right,
guess what?
now I'm done
We're
thinking
family.
about that. Stu did tell me something about a lazy river I was unaware of. You said something about it's not always so lazy, right?
Well, it's not. Izzy was asking, do you want to go the lazy river route today, or do you want me to come in hot with something? And I said, listen, the point of the lazy river, especially the one that we always refer to, the one at the Atlantis, Roy and I were on that together. We had a blast.
Oh, yeah.
We
I
really
had
did.
So much fun.
I think Billy was there, right? Yeah, Billy was there.
Head nod.
Yeah, I think Mike Ryan was with us. That is a different lazy river because that lazy river, it's not a true lazy river in the sense of you just go around very slowly. That river has rapids. That river has waves. And what I said to you is when you're on the lazy river, you don't fight the lazy river. You let the river take you where it wants to take you, even if it takes you to big waves and rapids, which in your case is a hot take.
Right, right.
Yes,
And
right.
so this isn't like a huge rapid. This is one of those, like you think you're like in the Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
The mini drop.
Yeah, it's just like, and like the kids get scared, but then it stops. That's what this is right here because I am so ticked off that last night I did something that I hate doing, and I've been doing it a lot lately, is giving up on a game and calling it a night. Now, that might be because I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning a lot more often with this
Right,
show.
yeah.
But last night, I gave up on game one of the WNBA Finals between the Minnesota Lynx and the New York Liberty because the Lynx had been sort of fighting back the whole game, sort of creeping up and then falling behind, creeping up and then falling behind. And then with about 4 or 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they're down 12. And I'm like, you know what? This is it. I love Nafisa Collier, but she is not going to be able to make this comeback happen all by herself. I'm going to shut this thing down and go to bed.
That's the worst.
Isn't it?
Yes.
And then this morning, it's not until I get to the Brightline station and I'm looking up and I see SportsCenter showing highlights of past WNBA Finals game winners. And I'm like, well, that's irrelevant. Did they just get bored with this blowout and started showing previous good games? And then I realized that the Lynx came all the way back, including a 4-point play to get them to that place, to get them to overtime, and then won it in overtime against the super team Liberty that's ready to win this thing. And I was so ticked off.
So once you see them going with historic game winners, you start realizing I missed something last night.
Immediately.
Well, I do have a stat for you. The Lynx were the first team in WNBA postseason history to win a game after trailing by 15-plus points in the final 5 minutes of regulation. That's from ESPN Stats and Info. Entering last night, teams were 0-183 in that scenario.
Wow, so it was 15
It was the
points.
first time out of the last 183 times that it happened. So I don't blame you for turning it off. I actually happened to be walking my dog at that point in the game, and I was watching it on my phone.
You were awake?
I was awake. I stayed up for it. And you're right. There was like, you take the dog out and you're like, should I even bother putting it on my phone? Like, this game feels like it's over. But I did. And this guy walks past me. He's like, what's the score? And I was like, the Lynx are up right now, 84-83. But Brianna Stewart's shooting free throws. And we stood there on the corner and just watched the last 2 seconds of regulation. And
She choked.
She missed her second
I
free
know.
throw. And then it
Yeah.
went to overtime. It was, man, she wants to win a championship with New York so bad.
Yeah, too
and
bad.
she looked so pissed after that.
I don't even know if it's just that. I think they should have run away with this thing. They should have kept giving Jonquel Jones the ball, finding a way to keep her in the paint because she was absolutely dominant. And instead, you got Brianna Stewart constantly going up against the WNBA Defensive Player of the Year and taking bad shots. And that's how Minnesota stayed in the game. It was just bad decisions, in my opinion, from the Liberty.
And also just really good defense from the Lynx. I think they forced them to take bad shots. And they also forced them, earlier in the game, the Liberty were doing a really good job of extending their offensive possessions by getting big offensive rebounds and staying on offense. But then as the Lynx were able to start, cutting away the lead and also honing in on defense, it really changed the game. And so the Lynx were able to get into their groove, which is the quick offensive transition game. Nafisa Collier is a great defensive player, but also she does everything. Her
So
footwork
smooth.
is amazing in the paint. She's very quick. She's everywhere on the court at once. And once she was able to find her groove, Courtney Williams hit some huge 3-pointers. She had that 4-point play you're
yes.
talking about. That sort of that was the game right there. Even though there ended up being 5 minutes minutes more after that. And I thought the Lynx defense was huge in the second half, and ultimately is what forced Liberty to not really shoot well at all in the rest of the game. I think they were only 43% from the field last night, which is not good. The Lynx shot a lot better, even though when the game started, it didn't look like they were going to get as many shots.
I think it's amazing how great this game was, but I think it's even more amazing that the first thing Stugotz said about the WNBA that wasn't about Caitlin Clark this year was Stewart choked.
Well, she did. I mean, you have what you want, right? If you're the Liberty, you have the best player in the WNBA, the best player on your team, on the foul line with a chance to win the game, and she misses it.
You're in your pocket here, man.
That's
This
a
is
choke
perfect
job.
for you.
Thank you. I mean,
There was a play where I was convinced that she was just out of it. She drove after a closeout, and there was a cutter on the baseline. It wasn't Jones. I think it was another big off the bench, just cutting wide open baseline. And her face is staring right at her, but she pitches it out to a three-pointer, and that one missed. And I was like, Stewie looks like she's, like you said, trying to do too much. I thought, man, it was interesting because the Liberty, basically their game plan was just offensive rebound the heck out of the ball and get more shots. They had like almost, I think, 19 more shots and still found a way to lose that game.
I would say I would one up you, Stugotz. I wouldn't say Stewie choked. I would say the entire team choked.
All right.
Everyone choked.
Wow, I like
they
it.
Choked. I mean, they had
You've
an
upped the
18
ante. Yes.
They all choked. They had an 18-point lead in game one at home. The Liberty have one of the best home courts in the WNBA. They had 18,000 fans there last night.
Jason Sudeikis was there.
And thank you for bringing up Jason Sudeikis because enough of him, okay?
Wow.
Enough of Jason Sudeikis.
Stugotz, go!
Too much Sudeikis. They're showing me Sudeikis going in and out of commercial.
seatbelt.
They're showing Sudeikis after big shots. They're showing him swag surfing. I don't need to see that much Sudeikis on the court. I really don't. Enough Sudeikis.
It was too much Sudeikis. The only time I saw him, he was clearly jumping into somebody else's video on their phone to make that person seem so popular because, I'm sitting next to Jason Sudeikis. I thought that it was a lot of look at me, Louie. And I don't know if I'm tired of him yet, but it's not like they had a second best celebrity there. Who was the other
Spike
person?
Lee was right there courtside. He's
Aubrey
literally
Plaza.
the
Everyone's
New York
tired of Spike, though.
basketball
Aubrey was
star.
there?
Aubrey Plaza was there.
They didn't.
Reading
I
a
don't
book.
think they showed
Really?
her on ESPN one time. By the way, they put her on the jumbotron. Rick Ross did a halftime thing with Ellie last night. Like there are tons of stars there. Okay, I'm sure Megan and Sue are there. They're at every game. I don't know if I didn't see them, but they're probably there. Enough Jason Sudeikis.
Can we talk? I mean, everybody was there, but did you see that Holly Rowe interview? She did an entire walkway all the way to the locker room with John Cole Jones after the game. The access, I'm so jealous of this WNBA access. It's out of control. But I think I'm the one who choked the most last night. Because
Really?
I said, yes.
Because you went to sleep?
Yes, because, I mean, look, I've watched the NBA long enough to realize that no lead is safe, so why would it be different in the WNBA?
Right.
And I've been doing that a lot lately. I did it Colorado-Baylor, right? That was the Hail Mary game. And Billy, I did it Liberty FIU.
Oh my God,
but I
crush
Well,
her.
turned
that's
it-
a game worthy of going to sleep early for.
Well, that's the I did the opposite.
What are you talking
Oh,
about?
sorry.
I turned it on right before
It was
overtime.
2 nights
Billy.
ago.
Yeah.
I
Should
should
have
have.
Tuesday?
Did you not know this?
They almost handed them their first loss at their stadium.
Yeah, Liberty Bibberty was just out there killing it. And
Would have
then
been
all
a
of sudden-
signature win.
And then what happened?
Mike McIntyre. Well, they lost.
They had another big fumble, right, Billy?
Well, last drive, they had a fumble to end the game, but
Why weren't you on the call? Are you not traveling for games?
No, I'm not traveling.
No.
I've heard there's a lot of logistics and red tape that goes.
A lot of
into that.
politricks.
Yeah, well, you said it, not me.
Were you taking notes?
I mean, I know you guys like to make fun of me, but I do prepare for these games. So yes, I watch the games.
Who
and see
makes
what's going
fun
on.
of you? I don't
Everyone,
make fun of
Yeah, no, I know.
I've
I'm a big
never
joke
made
around
fun of
you.
you.
That's fine.
What do you do? What?
He watched the Liberty game like all Liberty fans in the corner, just sort of watching.
I don't think anybody thinks Billy is this person that is like made fun of all the time and like with good reason. Like maybe they don't listen to your analysis all the time, but
Maybe.
when I hear Billy Gill analysis, I think that is fire, and that's a reason why you are. What are you now in the rankings? The international.
Well, there
football
hasn't been
rankings?
one in a couple years. So
Right.
The guy stopped doing it.
one
for
would
some
assume
reason.
you move up in the rankings, but who knows?
Yeah, but I would take it. Like, I think you were 4th the last time he did it. If he never does it again, you end as 4th.
I'm kind of
know?
with you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I mean, what's wrong with 4th?
Yeah.
Now then,
Room for improvement.
you're not on the
Mount
medal.
Rushmore.
You're not on the medal stand, but you're close. I
4th
mean,
is a good place because you can always move up.
Right.
right.
Stugotz, can we talk about the text that we got yesterday?
With Costas. Oh, Jesus.
Costas
What
texted
happened?
you?
I do want to say this. We as a show, okay? We as a show should apologize to Bob Costas.
Well, what happened yesterday?
Bob Costas is a legend. And Billy usually.
Whoa, Billy.
Well,
As a show,
timeout.
You don't even know what he's going
There's
to
a
say
lot
yet.
of caveats happening right now and a lot of backpedaling from one Stugotz.
I'll let Billy explain in a second, but Billy often gets, in trouble around here because it's guilty by association with me. All right? Yesterday, I was the only one who said a single nice thing on this show about Bob Costas, and somehow I am caught in the middle of a little dispute with Le Batard and Billy Gill.
No,
I didn't
what?
do anything.
well, first of all, I wasn't even going to bring this up. This wasn't the text I was talking about, but now we're here.
Oh, this wasn't the text. So now we got two texts
I guess
to
we
talk
have
about.
to talk about this.
But yesterday, you effectively said that America does not enjoy listening to Bob Costas anymore.
No, what I said was that social media was complaining a lot about the game prior, and people were not happy with how he was doing it. That I was just reporting the facts. That's all I was doing. And then I think what happened is then it was sent to a poll on Twitter, and I think that's how word got to Mr. Costas.
Yeah, and the poll question was at Le Batard Show on Twitter, in grade school, did Bob Costas make the other kids call him Robert?
Funny poll. That's a funny poll, though. Innocuous. There's something wrong with that.
So what was on the text? We're already ticked them
Well,
off. We might as well.
I think
portray
that's
confidences.
how things were put on his radar.
So there was a call, I believe. Dan screenshotted a call from Bob to Dan and sent it to me and Billy.
Did he answer the question?
And
Did he answer the phone?
Dan
what was
said,
this call like?
Dan said, I knew this was coming. Billy said, how? I told Dan, I said, I want him calling the World Series, mistakes and all.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No,
because his
now
voice,
is your time to double down. You've got him on the line. Maybe you can make a change.
Billy asked, what did Bobby Q want?
Robert Q.
I wrote back, you guys okay? He said, Dan responded, as if you guys don't know, God bless football. I said, so I should book him when you get back?
I don't think you should have read all those texts, if I'm going to be honest.
Those private conversations, man.
So it wasn't even a.
Oh, yeah, private conversations. Okay.
It was a God bless football deep dive into the Bob Costas mistakes, or was this somewhere else? Because there's no reason. Why would you be talking Bob Costas on football?
We didn't talk about it. And he was back last night. He did a great job on the call.
Yes. I'm just saying Bob's been very good to the show. He is a legendary voice. I don't care if he makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Lord knows I make a million of them around here. I want to hear that voice on big games, especially baseball games.
And there's some people who are just baseball people. Like, you hear the voice and you think, oh, okay, I might, even if, like Tony, you're not watching a lot of baseball, if you hear that voice, you're like, maybe this is a big enough game where I'm going to watch it. And that happened to me the other day. But then it was almost the first thing I heard him say where I was just like, okay, maybe this is too much baseball for me, or too baseball-y for me, because, all right, so there's 7 of us here. Raise your hand if you know how many umpires do a Major League Baseball playoff game.
6.
I said raise your hands.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
So he's got one. Yeah. He's got one, Jeremy. All right, so that's 3 out of what? 3 out of the 7. Mm-hmm. That's not most of us.
Right.
And what he said on the broadcast was, as most of you know, there are 6 umpires in an MLB playoff game. And I was like, I'm not one of those people, and I work in sports, so I doubt that most of America knows that there are 6 umpires in a game. But Billy knew it.
I mean, I
So
know
did I,
that
by
they
the way.
add one down,
It's fairly standard.
the lines,
right?
yeah. So it's in case there's any
But
question
you didn't
of,
raise your hand if it's fairly standard.
Well, I was trying to play the game, just playing along for you. Know?
Okay.
I also
Right.
think
River.
he probably got the note that he was talking down to the audience too much, because he does so much teaching during his broadcasts.
Careful,
like,
Jeremy.
that's sort of his
careful, tread lightly.
No, I think it's a good thing. Like, to me, I've always enjoyed a Costas broadcast because he does a lot of explaining things that he knows from years of the game. He was someone who replaced Vin Scully. He knows all of these stories, and he's constantly explaining the game to people. But I imagine, potentially, based off some of this social media backlash that there's been, it was, hey, Bob, you're talking down too much. So his sort of way of countering that was, well, as most of you know, here's this thing I'm describing. Because rather than, hey, for those of you who are newly initiated, because there's this really fine line in playoff baseball of, hey, there's two fan bases who've been passionate about their individual teams tuning in. It's why Joe Buck has said, no matter who you root for, you hate me because I'm supposed to be objective over both teams. And Costas, while obviously sort of pulling for the Yankees because that's the story that's better for baseball in that broadcast.
That's a wild accusation.
You did it for the Indians.
You're questioning the
Roy,
professionalism of
wasn't it Doc Emmerich who was always like, for all the young hockey fans out there, if you're on the, he would like teach a lesson.
Yeah.
I do that, Bob. Just
And
do it to all the
start
young
off by
baseball
saying,
fans.
In
Do
case
it like
you
Doc.
don't know. Not as most of you know, because then it makes you feel like an idiot if you don't know it.
But Doc had a different way. He would do the same thing, but he wouldn't talk down to you.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He was the best.
Yes.
I'm
not saying that Bob does, by the way.
I'm not either.
I am not saying
Yeah,
that Bob
what
Costas
We
does
could
that.
all be more like Doc.
What's our official stance on this?
I
'Cause
love
it seems
him.
like you guys are throwing wild accusations at Bob Costas, which is super rude.
You give yours
and
first, Billy.
disrespectful.
You go first.
What?
Tell us what. Tell us what.
Well,
you
no,
think.
I'm just here to kind of keep things moving today.
I'll
Well,
tell
you
you
did
what I
say
think.
you did say they pulled for the Indians in '97, and I agree
Well,
with you on that.
that's a fact, Jack. He was rooting against the Marlins.
So here's what it
Any
sounds
questions?
like. It sounds like to me
wow.
that Bob has overheard way too many people say, hey, you're cheering for the other team. As Jeremy just said, just matter-of-factly, that he was clearly going for the Yankees because that was the better story. I think Bob is just over all of it. I think he's in the
Yeah, but he's clearly not.
IDGAF
No, but I
mode
was
of
going to
his
ask you,
career.
when do you get over Billy Gill or me just poking fun at you or the fans on social media? You're Bob Costas. You have had a legendary run. How are you not confident in yourself and your abilities to broadcast games where you're still, at this age, this many years into the industry, how could you be impacted by what people, strangers, are saying about how it is you do your job?
That's why I was kind of shocked to see that he reached out yesterday.
I know,
Right? And he's
yes.
just 72. Like, who cares?
Right, you're Bob Costas.
Yeah.
Guys.
You won.
Guys,
Yeah.
if you look up self-serious in the dictionary,
Right.
there's a
Careful.
face that looks back at you.
Oh, no.
Levitards?
There's two
wow.
faces that look back at you.
Oh, no.
Like, what are we
One
gonna
of them
do?
bigger than the other.
One guy being upset about things like this when he acts a certain way during broadcasts, and we're surprised.
Right. Well, I mean, look, I don't. Unless we have him on, if we can get him on by
That's
Monday,
fine.
I think it's probably not as serious. As,
I'm
as we're
saving
making it
Costas for
sound.
when Dan gets back. I mean,
That's when it should be. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. That's right. Dan's gone next week.
Well,
I forgot about that.
whoops.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Is he?
everyone.
Is that are we not allowed to
Isn't
say
he?
that?
I don't know
gone?
what we can say.
How dare you?
I didn't know that. I thought he
I
was
feel
here
like
today.
we keep any programming notes a secret, and that's been like the MO here, and I don't know why.
wow. Okay. So he's out. I booked Bob for Monday. I mean,
Just you and him? I really couldn't
get
cost us.
Billy
Two
admitting
beach
that
sessions.
Dan's body double to come and sit in his chair. Where's Danny?
Where's
B?
Danny?
little FaceTime action. So in this lazy river, we'll probably hit a top 5. Stu's got a top 5 drives. I'm not sure what kind of drives you're talking about, but I really hope George Bush is on that list.
I didn't think about that.
Right.
Actually,
Oh,
yes.
why?
But
I have to change the list. I am wondering, like, because you got me thinking about a time where I fell asleep and I missed the ending of a classic game. And I'm wondering if that's happened to anyone else, because that Monday night legendary Dolphin Jet game.
Ah, the fake spike.
Where
Dan Marino.
No,
Not
different
that one?
one. This is when the Dolphins were up big first half. I went to sleep. There was no way the Jets were
Monday
coming
Night
back.
Football.
And they won a game. I think it was Jumbo Elliott who caught a big touchdown pass, the go-ahead touchdown pass for the Jets. I fell asleep
Crazy
at halftime.
sentence.
I missed one of the great comebacks, and maybe the only great comeback in Jets history. I mean, I missed it. I was very upset.
I would argue that most people probably slept through Miami's big comeback only 6 days ago against Cal. That was on
Wow.
until 2 in the morning
Yes.
on the East Coast.
Wasn't
I did.
even a playoff game, though, but it's
I mean,
it's
it
a
was
big
only
one.
October, but it was
I
a big
fell
comeback.
asleep before there was a need for a comeback. How about that?
So when the game kicked off?
Yes.
I think the most annoying one for me was, what was that Alabama-Auburn game where the guy ran back the missed field goal?
Kick six?
That was
Yeah,
on
kick
at like
six.
6
Yeah.
p.m.
I know. And it was one of those.
Little
I
nap?
think, I
No, that
think
was like 4, I feel like. That was like early in the day.
my monster take after that game was, why are college football games so damn long? And like the CBS
Oh, they're getting
3:30
longer,
games like
Izzy.
end at 8 o'clock.
They're getting even longer. I'm I don't have the data to back this up yet, but I'm telling you, like the noon ABC game and like the 3:30 ABC and CBS games, they are longer this season than ever.
I used to blame Vern Lundquist, but you can't even blame him anymore.
No,
like
you
I don't know
can't.
who you can blame.
Right.
But
Probably Costas.
the commercial breaks.
well, Stu came in complaining because I guess the other day Lucy was on for like half a second and he couldn't play his Lucy or Goosey game.
Yes.
And so now Lucy's not here, and we're trying to transition to see if we can play this game with Jess, but Jess's name kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. Lucy,
Jess or no?
Goosey. Wow.
Oh, that's a good. I didn't think of
Unbelievable,
that.
Jess
Jeremy.
will mess.
How did you not offer that earlier?
I didn't know it was a thing we were talking about.
In
Seems
Miami,
fairly
Jess or
obvious.
no is the perfect one. Do you want to know what Stugotz came up with? Or was it Billy? Who came up with yes or Jess?
That was.
I think it was
me.
Jess.
Jess or no is so much better.
You've had this name your whole life, and you couldn't come up with Jess or no. You've been in
I don't know,
Miami
my
for a
last
few
name
years.
rhymes with banana. That's all I've got.
Schmatana
Sour
banana.
cream.
So are we going to play this now that it's got the perfect name, Jess or no? We don't have to confuse her and say that Jess is a yes. Or wait, Jess is a no now because Jess is definitely yes.
Yes, we're going to play it in just a
Jess.
second. I just got to find my questions. So just give me a second.
It's the lazy river. I mean, you don't exactly have your
Yeah,
phone
we can
on
do
you
it at
all
any
times.
point. in
Well,
the
I
next
didn't know
3
you were going to
hours.
it right away. I'm glad that you did because I want to play the game, but I just got to find my questions for this week's game.
Yeah,
no,
so you
that's
got to
okay.
stall.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Izzy,
so,
by the way, I
gotta
like your
fill.
sweatshirt
Someone
today. It
fill.
reminds me of all the pictures I saw last night of people seeing the northern lights outside, which, by the way, we got none of in Miami. I think people as far south as Missouri were able to see the northern lights. There were northern lights in New York City and Boston and Chicago, and I went outside and just the same old sky down here. It made me very sad.
What is that supposed to be? Just green sort of lights across the sky? Is that what that is?
Aurora Borealis, I believe it's
That's
called.
an actor.
It's the green and
Wasn't he in
there was an
Bones?
electromagnetic storm last night or something.
And was it something that like it's supposed to change your life when you see it, or it's just
I don't know.
like
It's cool. This guy's pink. I don't. You don't need to ask me too many follow-up questions
okay.
about it. All
No, I
right?
mean, 'cause,
Science
like,
wasn't my best class.
just the people that marvel at all these things. Like I'd rather just watch fireworks. To me, that's more amazing. Like they
What?
put on a yeah.
Seen
I mean,
one,
the
you've
lights
seen
in
'em
the
all.
sky, right? I mean,
so you
there's
didn't care that we missed the eclipse too?
not at all. Not. I have a friend who travels to all the locations, like the prime locations for the eclipse, and he puts out these amazing videos. And like for 3 seconds, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. And then I never think about it again.
We glossed over what Tony said. I found the questions, by the way, but he said you've seen one, you've seen them all. I agree
Fireworks.
with that.
You've
Yeah.
seen one, you've seen 'em
Yeah,
all.
I agree.
You know,
Yeah.
I'd rather see that though than like the new drone shows replacing fireworks.
Yes.
I want a sense of danger.
But,
I
I
want
mean,
to think.
have you ever
like,
had a drone come and visit you or no?
what?
That would be dangerous.
What?
Like visit you, like to
Like,
kill you?
like be in the drone formation.
Like
and then
army
all
drones? What are you talking
all
about?
of a sudden, like go your way because they malfunctioned.
Huh.
You want
Wait,
want
has
fire?
this happened to you?
No,
Fall
but
on
I'm
your head?
saying
Yeah,
it's
what's
happened to
happening?
people before.
What?
Mark Anthony tried to catch a drone, cut up his hand
What was he doing?
trying to catch it.
Why were you trying to catch a drone?
Because somebody had flown the drone onto stage and he was trying to like grab it and then it like cut his hand.
I
Does
mean,
he not know how those things
propellers.
work?
He doesn't.
It's a mini helicopter.
Yeah, it doesn't.
He knows
So
now.
are drone shows dangerous?
It could be
If you try to catch
Okay.
him. Yeah.
Well, why would you try to catch a drone during a drone show?
Yeah.
because if it's flying towards you and you're trying to stop it,
But
either
why is
by
it flying
catching-
towards you?
Because it malfunctions, guys. Just like fireworks malfunction.
Do
Why
the
do they,
drones not
guys?
have
Why do they?
Wi-Fi?
Why do fireworks malfunction? Can anybody answer that for me?
What?
No.
I don't understand the question. Let's
Explosive
explain the
it's,
question.
It's
first.
very simple, Billy. You
Hear
ready?
the man out.
How do fireworks malfunction?
Can we have
Nobody
JPP
has an
on?
answer.
There-
Okay,
what,
perfect.
what, it, what?
You're
you
asking
know
me
what
about
I-
how drones
'Cause
malfunction. How do fireworks
it's
malfunction?
gunpowder.
Okay.
The canister could fall. It could be
and
cracked.
electronics are perfect. They've never had an issue ever before.
What are we arguing about?
I don't know. You want to argue today. I don't want to argue about anything. I'm just trying to make a point.
Here's the point. Drones are dangerous. Don't catch them with your hand, Mark Anthony.
Yes.
Jess. Okay, Jess
Ask
or
Trevor
no
Bauer
is the
about
game.
that,
The
by the way.
original point was if you've
won't
seen
do that.
one fireworks show, you've seen them all.
Exactly
That's all
right.
I was
Thank you,
agreeing
Stugotz.
with
Thank
Tony.
you.
I mean,
Thank you.
So do you like fireworks or you don't like fireworks?
They're okay. I've seen them all.
Oh.
you've seen one, you've seen them all.
I've seen every firework that's ever happened before.
You know, I have a situation where I have 2 young daughters and they go to sleep early. So for 4th of July, I bought fireworks to do, right? So one of them was being put to sleep because like you had to wait until like 9 o'clock for it to get dark. So it's kind of late for them, but I kept my eldest one up. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to be like a nice husband and dad. My wife's putting my daughter to sleep. I'm going to save fireworks so that we can like, you know, show them the fireworks or whatever, right? Yeah. Not thinking, hey, it gets dark the same time every night, so I'm just going to run into the same problem every time, right?
Right.
So I just have like half a box of fireworks that has been sitting next to my computer, like in my office. And like I'm trying to figure out what to do with them, right? Because now it's October, so I can't just set off fireworks in October. People are going to think I'm
Start a new
crazy.
tradition.
Like, why would I just go out into front of my house in October and start setting off fireworks?
Ooh, you
like,
want to
you
tick
got-
off some parents and give
if
them out for
only
Halloween.
FIU beat Liberty. You could have set them
I
off on
could have.
Wednesday.
Right.
you know what I'm going to do?
Wait until New Year's.
Well, no, FIU has, that's a great idea. FIU has a string of 4 straight Tuesday games. So they have another one coming up on this Tuesday, another road game. If they win, maybe I should go out into the street and set off the fireworks.
Well,
It'll be
what
odd
kind of
'cause-
fireworks are we talking about here? Is those the kinds you buy at like the Winn-Dixie and
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
big
yeah.
So you just like stand around it and watch it pop, 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 pop,
Yeah,
pop, pop, and
yeah.
that's about it?
It just makes a lot of smoke and noise,
Yeah,
really.
and how is that like really entertaining or celebrating anything? Is that going to be?
Well, my kid's just 3 years old. They are entertained by that. What do you want me to do? Get the ones that shoot into the sky? That's how you have accidents.
Roman candles.
Yeah, of course. That's what I was trying to tell you.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And drones have accidents too.
Glad we cleared it up.
Yeah.
All right.
We're on the same page here. I don't know why you were coming at me.
Don't
for no
point
reason.
fireworks or drones at people. I think that's where we landed. with
Well,
this,
no, I
right?
want
That's
no.
safe.
But which do you think is more likely to cause an accident, a drone or a firework?
A firework, but
Yeah.
drones. If you've ever had a drone beelining at you because whatever the mechanism isn't working, it's probably terrifying. So imagine if you have 100 of them doing a show and one of them goes at your.
It's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Billy.
It's
I
not
don't know if
good.
You heard about this?
Well,
Drones are attacking people
counterpoint,
everywhere.
JPP lost his fingers. Mark Anthony, fine.
I don't know if he's fine. We have to check what happened to his hand. Let me see.
Yeah.
I think he might have got you there.
I found the questions.
Perfect.
What are they about? What is the
College
what's this?
football. College
Oh, okay.
football.
Sure.
Yeah.
Should
So we
she
pay.
have to answer these in a Miami accent too, since
Well,
the Jess or no?
No,
is
I'm
in
not gonna
Miami?
do that.
No? Okay.
It's yes or no, right? Is that how we're doing it? So
Yes.
we play a game on God Bless Football every Monday with Lucy called Lucy or Goosey, and we just throw out a bunch of college football topics and we let Lucy go. And so I want to do this. I haven't had the chance to play it yet, and so I'm going to do it with Jess. So Jess, Alabama can still lose one more game and make the playoffs. Jess or no?
Jess.
You got to expand a little bit. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, I'm allowed to keep talking?
Yeah, of course.
Lazy River Day.
Lazy River.
If they lost an SEC championship game, but they won the remaining games on their schedule, I think they could still make it. I don't think that they're completely out of it. So the rest of their schedule, they still have to play Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, and Oklahoma. Those are the 3 ranked teams. Wait, Tennessee, Mizzou, LSU, and Oklahoma. That's 4 teams. But Missouri probably won't stay in the top 25 if I had to guess. They looked pretty bad against Texas A&M.
Yes.
Oklahoma if they lose against Texas. But those are still quality opponents. I think if Alabama wins out and then plays in the SEC championship game against Georgia again, say, and loses, I
Safe
still
to say
think
both participants in an SEC championship game in a 12-team playoff more than likely going to get in. Right?
I would say so, unless something really weird happens and the rest of the field looks really good. I think 2-loss Alabama still has a good shot.
Small asterisk. It was Enrique Iglesias, not Mark Anthony.
Can you
boy.
like
That kind of thing.
sing one song from each so I can differentiate or no? Because I feel like I mixed those two together.
Thank you.
The other side of that, Stugotz,
Made my
if
point.
Alabama loses another regular season game, but then they still play in the SEC championship game and they win, they're automatically going to be in. So I think
Jess,
I think
not
so.
yet, Jess.
It did require a skin graft and surgery to reconstruct his broken middle finger.
There you go.
Where do you get the skin from?
I mean, the Hollywood Reporter does not have the details on that.
Too many follow-ups, is he?
Well, I mean, it's probably the buttocks. I'm just saying.
Inner thigh, maybe.
So he still has his finger, though, right? JPP lost his.
Correct.
Lost a couple.
Right, lost a couple. Yep. All right, yes or no? One of Army or Navy will make the college football playoffs.
Okay, so I saw a stat the other day that Army and Navy have their strength of schedule to start the season were both like fairly low. So the remaining strength of schedule is, I think it was like twice as hard as the first 6 games have been, something like that. That was on BCF Toys, a website that I love for college football stats and data. People should check it out. So it's possible, especially if they're a ranked conference champion. It's very possible. I mean, yeah. So I would say I would say no, because two teams versus the field, you always pick the field.
Wow.
I don't like that.
But
Army, Navy.
Navy's quarterback is Horvath. He's really good.
Blake Horvath
he's
and them
he's the
boys.
highest rated quarterback right now on PFF.
You're
in
entitled to your
passing
opinion.
and
I think
running.
both teams should get in. I do.
Okay.
The thing is,
Yeah.
they play each other. It's a
I
Yeah,
know.
but I
game.
think that's
I know.
after conference championship weekend, and I don't think that
Spot for
will,
the playoff.
I don't actually. I think that won't count towards the playoff. I need to double check that, but I think
Okay.
that's like an
I'll look it up for
exhibition
you.
game, and it's not
Exhibition.
I'm pretty sure I read
Have they
that.
been lying to us the entire time? What do you mean it's an exhibition game?
Is it still okay to call that game a war?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who's is someone can't,
Same side though.
Is
Well,
someone
people say, "Oh no, it's not war." You
I
shouldn't call
bet
games
you-
war, but it's Army Navy.
I
that's
bet
just the
you the
Civil
guys
War.
on each team,
they
they're
still
not
call it
calling
that.
that a war. They call it a game. Like
Right.
it's insulting to call that war to them.
Unless it's for the playoff.
Then it's a war.
The
The stakes
playoff,
are bigger.
the final playoff ranking is announced on December 8th. The Army-Navy game is December 14th.
So hold on a second. So then we've got the college playoff committee not giving due what the due respect to Army Navy if they're undefeated to get them into the playoffs.
This is going to be a national
So they're not
tragedy.
going to be. They can't both be undefeated.
Right. I'm saying one of the teams is going to be undefeated.
Someone's going to have to lose something.
But it's still
before
going to be a
that.
game of significance, and it's not going to matter for the playoff because it's after the playoff teams are selected.
It's still okay. Well, there will have been a conference championship game before that point.
What if Navy's undefeated?
Then if they're undefeated, that means they've beaten Notre Dame. That means they've won their conference. Yeah, I think that there's a good chance that they make it in. What I'm saying is that.
But what if they lose? It's an exhibition game.
The playoffs already been decided. We
Right.
already went
But what
over
if they
this.
win?
What happened here is the committee
Then they
never.
win. It's a big rivalry.
Yeah, but what happened
game's
is
called What If They Win?
the committee never thought this game would matter.
Exactly
That's
right.
what happened.
Where's the respect to
Right.
the Army and Navy kids?
Exactly.
Thank you for your service.
it's
exactly.
not an exhibition game. It's an out of conference game, but it's after the season ends. So
Okay.
I say no though
But
because
what
I
if they
pick the
win?
field.
Well, regardless of who wins, they always set off fireworks, do they not?
Giants owner John Mara, who also today said he doesn't know how many fingers JPP has.
not to get super local here, but I wanted to ask Roy a question because, Roy, you're not in the hockey group chat, which, by the way, androids are not the enemy anymore. I think you need to get that straight to people. But I was curious as to why I couldn't watch my Florida Panthers in Game 2 of the regular season. There was no local television that I could see, and the ESPN app still blacked it out, even though they're on the road and not competing with any local television.
There is local hockey games. They're on Scripps Sports, which is the CW down here, Channel 39.
I could not find that anywhere. Maybe I don't have the CW enough, but thank you, Roy, because the Panthers took a loss yesterday. It was 2-1. They now have the same record as the Boston Bruins. And I saw a note on the board, and I don't know if this was Billy being, helpful, being supportive of the Panthers,
probably.
or if probably, right? Because that's kind of your thing. You're a helpful cat.
I don't know what we're getting at, but I would assume helpful.
Well,
and I'm a dog.
I saw a note that says that Billy hates Panthers, but then it said hate. So I guess it's you hate Panthers hatred?
Yes, I do. I hate the disrespect and the hatred that's been thrown towards the Panthers this season. I'm not a fan of it. I will say this. Right now, 500 club. We're going to have to kind of turn things around a little bit if we want to defend Lord Stanley. But
well, hang on. We're going to get to your real specialty here, which is the bucket of death in a second. But you've clearly been on this hockey bandwagon since last year. But you say disrespect thrown their way. Where has that come from?
Bandwagon.
First of all, yeah, I'm not on the Panthers bandwagon.
Right, it's
to throw my credentials around, and it's a strange flex, but I owned one of the Kevin Spacey Panthers hoodies. I'll have you know.
You didn't throw it away?
No, I did. No, I
okay.
did.
I
did
threw mine
get
away.
rid of it. But at the time,
burn that thing for you?
at the time I had one. So I'm a long-standing Panther fan. I used to have a rubber rat at my house that I'd throw at the television. So I was in it. I was there.
Were you afraid that you would damage your television? Those
Well, no,
rubber rats aren't light.
Soft rubber.
Well, I was a
right?
child. I didn't have a great arm, hence why I'm here, not on the
don't go
diamond. You know what I mean?
Anyway, indeed. What is the process here with the bucket of death? Are we supposed to call for the Reaper?
Wait, hold on.
I heard
Wait,
there's supposed to be
this is the Panthers hate that I'm talking about right here. We're just
moving on to the next
brush over
subject.
defending Stanley Cup champions, and we're just changing the subject here. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's
is
no
any
respect for
not the perfect transition
There's
to get
no
off?
respect for the Panthers.
It was.
So, guys, I don't know if you've seen what's going on with the Panthers and in the NHL in general.
What?
So they're here, and people are saying that the Edmonton Oilers are the favorites to win the Stanley Cup.
The Edmonton Oilers that wet the bed in Game 1
Exactly
of the
right.
regular
The ones that
season?
just choked away the Stanley Cup. All of a sudden, they're the favorites. And I have this working theory that I want to run by you guys that I tried to run by Roy, but he was not in a receptive mood when I tried to run it by him. So I'll run it
Less
by
so
him again.
today.
Really?
Right.
Why? Because of the loss?
Well, technically, the Panthers lost twice last night because Alexander Barkov got injured.
See?
Oh, Harky's hurt.
Things I did not learn
So
because I
two
did not
losses,
have the seat.
huh?
Was it in regulation?
Yes, he tried to
Okay,
break up
then
an
it's
empty
two
net
losses.
goal and slid into the boards.
How serious
Skates-
are we talking?
They
Upper
lost the
or
battle
lower
and the
body?
war. I mean,
Yeah, we don't know how serious yet, but we're going to find out soon.
wow.
Yeah, that's 2 L's right
My
there.
point is this, and had it been overtime, it would have been just one, if my understandings of hockey is correct.
That's correct.
So
Regulation.
here's the thing. I have this strong belief that if the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers changed rosters, the Edmonton Oilers would still be the favorites to win the Stanley Cup. I think that this is a Florida bias and disrespect that is thrown the way of the great municipality, let's call it, of Sunrise, Florida.
Yes,
I don't think that people accept that Florida is the hockey state now.
So it has nothing to do with the difficulties of winning back-to-back Stanley Cups.
No, it has to do with the fact that people don't want to respect that Florida and the Panthers are a hockey powerhouse right now. And they just want to give it to any other team out there, so they're doing it with Edmonton because they're like a classic hockey team, whatever, Canada, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, the Florida Panthers, as we all know, us hockey heads know, are a far superior team. And Connor McDavid, enough of this guy. We don't even need to go down this path again. Same old song and dance with him.
Should we call in Greg Cody for a visit? Or I mean,
It's
I
up
think
to you. You're running the show today. I'm just here.
I think
Just
he was
keeping things moving.
He was probably pretty happy in that Game 1 of the regular season because it was confirmed that it probably was already confirmed during the playoffs last season, but double, triple confirmed. So what
Measure
is the
twice, cut
process with the
once.
bucket? Is this okay? Is it okay now, Billy? Is this enough?
Have we spent the
Panthers
proper
talk?
amount of time on the Panthers for Izzy to transition over to the bucket of death?
It's up to you guys.
Are you
I'm just-
satisfied?
Yeah, that's up to you guys. Whatever you guys want
I
to
don't
do.
want you to feel disrespected.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. The Panthers are the ones being
Right.
disrespected. Yeah.
2 losses, huh?
Does it happen?
Yeah.
Do you what? So what?
So are they
happens
1 and
Double
2?
hockey
Are they
sticks.
are they 1 and 2 now?
They are 1-1-0 currently, but yeah.
Well, how are the 2 losses then?
Well, Alexander Barkov.
Yeah. That's how you
Because
do
he got
it.
injured. He lost in the same game.
Oh wow! The lights go down in here. It gets kind of red.
The
I see
Reaper's
how it
coming.
is.
I mean-
Hey, there's the Reaper. Wait, was
Why
the
are you
Reaper
skipping
talking?
Tony?
What are we doing?
Oh.
It always starts as far as you can go and then goes around. It always starts.
It's almost as if this
I can
Reaper
tell
has
you're
never
never
been
here on days we pull from the
I
bucket.
was here last week. I got the Chargers. They were on a bye.
I'm here every single day we do a bucket.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
The Jaguars
they're
are
playing in
taking-
London.
Yep. Taking
Against
on
the
the
Bears.
Bears.
Ah,
Yeah.
Bears.
Winnable
It
game.
is home field
It's
for
a
the
winnable
Jaguars.
game.
Yes.
London is home field. You know what?
Wow.
I'm sticking with the Jaguars.
Wow. Gutsy.
A
Gutsy.
lot of
Wow.
faith. in
Sticking
that
with the
home
Jaguars.
London
I
game.
can see Doug
Home
Peterson
field
staying
advantage in
London.
London.
I don't
Home
think we even
field
talked
advantage.
about Eric Mangini saying how Woody Johnson was embarrassed to lose in front of all his friends in London and how that was the reason that he fired
Man, genius.
Robert Saleh.
Thank you. Well said. Tony, what did you say? Because you
said-
were trampled.
I said Doug Peterson may be staying in London if they lose to the Bears.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Keep an eye
nice,
on that.
nice little vacation.
Keep an eye on that.
Stay across the
Deporting?
pond. Yeah.
They make
Patriots.
There's this place of great burgers.
Oof, not good.
Drake
Texans
May.
at Patriots.
Not good.
Drake May getting his first start.
Put that
I'm
one
gonna put
back.
that back. Yeah.
Yeah. Good choice.
Might want to melt that one.
So last week, Jess is going in for a second helmet. I had the Bucks with my first helmet, and I put it back in and took the Falcons.
Nice.
You
Kansas
lucky.
City Chiefs.
They're on a bye.
Yeah.
Oh, bye.
I don't know.
Congratulations.
I haven't lost in the bucket in like 2 years, I think.
Lucky you.
Same.
Wait, is
I
it?
think
There
last
should be an
year-
Bring it
investigation.
over
she
here. Come
didn't
on,
lose
that was
last
There
year I
should
think
be
I
an
lost one
investigation.
time.
We should
Jess
look
looks
into
innocent,
that.
but she's
Bullshit.
probably
I
cheating.
haven't done a
the
bucket
tape.
punishment in 2 years, so that's like the same.
Yeah.
4 years.
I feel
for
like
me.
I haven't
Don't
won
worry,
in
I've
2
done it
years.
for all of you.
Hold
All right,
on,
here we
fist
go. Let's
over
see
there.
what this is. We've got the LA Rams.
Ooh, they
I think they're also on a bye.
They
a
are
bye
on a
week.
bye. Keep it.
There you go.
Wow.
Such
Excellent.
luck.
Yeah. Well done.
Man, they both have buys, and I have the Jaguars.
Yeah, but you chose the Jaguars.
I did.
You
1.5
could've put them
points.
back.
Yeah, but home away from home. I mean,
I got the Browns.
Play the Eagles this week, and
That's
a must
going
win.
back. Put it back.
Oh!
I think they're contracting, actually. The Browns.
Tony, they have to go to Jameis Winston at some point.
Some point.
Ooh, I got the Big Apple.
Ooh, any New York team?
Yeah, I know. That's how. Yeah. I'm gonna
Mets,
think about
Mets.
this. I'm
Tough-
gonna think about
tough,
this.
You can
Uh,
take the Liberty in game 2.
Could take the
Don't.
Yankees.
All right, I'm gonna think
Game
about
1 of
this.
the ALCS.
Liberty must win, Billy.
Yeah,
I'll be
Liberty
back
at
on
home
this one.
game 2.
Tough game for the NFL New York teams, Bengals and Bills, respectively.
What about the Mets or the Yankees?
Anybody on a bye?
The Indianapolis Colts.
Looking at the MLS schedule.
They play the Titans on the road. Winnable game.
No.
You could take
Roy,
Gotham.
Roy, you also have put back a ton of winners. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. The Wizard of Oz.
Ooh, lion, tiger, or bear. I have a question on this, okay? So you've
Terry
got
Scuba
the Big Apple one, correct, Billy?
Yeah, that's
So you
right.
have to pick a New York team. But what if one New York team is playing another New York team? A New York team has to win. Isn't that basically a bye for you? Do you have to pick one of those
You
teams?
got to pick
No, you
the
have to
New
pick-
York
yeah, you have to
team. Pick
specify.
one.
Right.
I don't know. I think you should go with Bills at Jets and just call that game.
Tarek Skubal,
No.
Roy. Tarek
Wrong.
Skubal.
I will let you know in a second.
Well, I'm wondering, aren't the Giants off?
No.
No, they are
the
not.
Bengals at the Giants.
Bengals.
You're
Bengals,
wondering.
3.5 points favorites.
Take the Giants, Billy.
Well, Army plays at West Point in New York.
They do.
Yeah, you could take
So
Army.
I could
You can.
combine this and the TYFYS.
Yep.
I think they might be a big favorite this week. I'm going to go with Army just
All right,
because I
okay.
love our troops so much.
Okay.
Write that
Yeah.
down.
Also, a small other caveat. Also, like the Enrique Iglesias one, Mark Anthony. I didn't know Army and Navy were in the same conference. I was remembering Army as an independent school, so they would actually play.
Is that why you were confused?
Yeah, they would actually play in the conference championship. I've been told before they play
If they're
for
both,
spots of the playoff.
Yeah, and 1 and 2 in the
Yeah,
conference.
yeah.
Long rummage right now.
Makes sense that they're in the American Athletic
But
Conference.
Blake Horvath and them boys, watch out for the midshipmen.
The Browns. Putting it back.
I'm telling you, you should melt that
Do
one.
I have
think,
to put it back?
I think they're contracting.
Does the helmet stay out? Do I put
No,
it back?
if you put it
No,
back.
you gotta
it's
put it back. Yeah, you
Back,
gotta
if
put
you
it
get
back.
it again.
Oh, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
back,
Yeah, you
Jack.
can actually pick it twice. It's would be really bad luck.
Anyone but the Browns.
When was the last time we checked that all the helmets are actually in there?
Oh, wait a minute.
There's an inventory every year.
This every year.
Yeah.
Not every week.
No, I mean, come on.
No, because Billy's got to put the good one up his sleeve.
How dare you?
The Vikings.
They're on a bye.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
This is unbelievable.
win.
Yes.
This guy, Jeremy, it's not looking good for you. The odds are you are going to.
Am I the only person who presently has taken an NFL game where there will be results?
Yes.
Yep.
2 buys, Army.
Who did Tony
Roy
get?
hasn't picked
Tony
yet.
got a bye? Ooh, I
3
got
buys.
the Indianapolis Colts and former
wow.
Gator who's not playing, right?
At tight
Anthony
end.
We don't know
Richardson?
yet. He
Don't
started
know
practicing
yet?
a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's see.
I have no interest in the Colts
You want Flacco to
whatsoever. I'm
play.
putting
I
that
mean,
one
Yeah, you
back.
want Flacco to play. You want
Ooh,
Flacco
it's
to
too
play.
late.
Yeah,
Flacco
Flacco's an upgrade. Yeah.
Hall of Famer.
He is. No doubt.
Ooh, Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos.
All right, they
They're
host the Chargers.
3-point dogs.
That's
at
an
home.
upgrade.
I actually don't hate that, Izzy.
I mean, I do.
Denver has a very, very, very good defense.
That doesn't really help me very much.
It
Bo
doesn't
Nix?
soothe you. Tony doesn't hate it. Should
No.
soothe you.
Bo
no?
Nix 3-2 this season.
No, and I'm sure who's got it better than the Chargers? Nobody.
Thank
and they're
you.
coming off
Coming
2
off a
losses.
bye, too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to take that game.
All right,
But,
I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions because everybody else sucks.
the Detroit
So you
Lions.
picked the Lions against the Cowboys?
Cy
the
Young Award
Cowboys.
winner.
Yeah.
Tigers.
Lions
Yes.
at the Cowboys, 3-point favorites on the road.
Tarek Skubal. Why would you pick the Lions?
I've also taken the Clemson Tigers, I believe.
Yeah.
I didn't have much time to look everywhere. I was
Or you
looking
could've
hockey.
picked-
I was looking at college
You could have
football.
picked
I
the
was looking-
Cubs that don't play until next year.
I mean, it's Roy's helmet. It's his choice. I wouldn't take the Tigers. Baseball's random, man.
Tarek Skubal.
The Mets are 4
Also,
games
what
away
hockey
from making
team-
it to the series. I
Playing
mean,
Wake Forest.
The Bruins would be the Bears in this situation.
Okay.
What?
Because I was saying Lions, Tigers, and Bears. We're not even. Okay.
Yeah,
Whatever.
the Bruins
Nobody-
would be the Bears, just like UCLA would be the Bears in college. Yeah.
Good point.
Well,
And
another
Baylor.
team that's
Missouri's
on a
got
bye.
UMass.
Good bucket.
God damn it, man! Come on.
Cal Bears.
Could have taken your time on that, Roy.
I was
they're
trying
playing
to
at
take my
Pitt.
time, and then you picked, and
game.
now
I didn't know there was a time limit. You could have
Well,
taken
it's
till next
final
week.
now. Sorry, it's locked in. That's
Yeah,
how it
whatever.
works.
Nobody
I
picked
get
the
the
Jets,
Lions.
right? The Jets are on a bye, are they?
No, they're
No,
not.
the Jets play
are
the
playing
Bills.
Oh, the Jets play the
Big
Bills.
division.
First
Yeah.
place.
Big game for first place.
I think we should do like
Must
a
win?
top 5 list of funniest outcomes during the Monday Night Football game. One of them being Aaron Rodgers throws for like 500 yards and 3 touchdowns, and they look really good.
Well,
But then they go on like a 10-game losing streak
This
after.
is perfect. He gets the extra day to talk about the Jets, and everybody's going to be watching. But Stu, Aaron Rodgers, like what he went on McAfee, and
Yeah.
he said that he was unhappy, right, with the tone, or that people suggested that he had something to do with the firing of Robert Saleh.
He resents that the media and fans are speculating that he had something to do with the firing of Robert Saleh. I don't care what he resents. I resent all 3 interceptions last week. I resent how he's played through the first 5 weeks. I resent the torn ACL last year. I resent him lying about the vaccine. Whether he's telling the truth or not, okay? Aaron Rodgers has put himself in a position where people are going to think he is the reason the Jets head coach got fired. And if you're the Jets, and I firmly believe this, okay, because Rodgers has a conversation with Woody Johnson. Woody Johnson has never fired a head coach in the middle of the season, while the season is going on, in his entire time owning the New York Jets. He's never done it. So they have a conversation the night before, and then Woody Johnson, for the first time, since he has owned the New York Jets, woke up one morning and said, today's the day. I am going to fire my head coach for the first time since I started owning the New York Jets organization. I don't think you do this, okay? I don't think you do
You don't
this.
think you fire the coach?
I don't think you fire the coach unless you're trying to beat the other organizations to one of 2 guys, Bill Belichick or Mike Vrabel. Because those 2 guys, and by the way, Aaron Rodgers, what is he worried about? Like, why is he worried about the resentment? Robert Saleh's a bad coach.
So you're saying Woody Johnson and
I
the
give
Jets.
Aaron Rodgers a standing ovation for getting Robert Saleh fired, whether he did or not, and I believe that he did. I give him a standing ovation. But if you're Woody Johnson and you're headed in to one of the biggest Jet games in the last 10 years, a game for first place Monday Night Football against the Bills, why would you fire your head coach unless you're going after one of these 2 guys, which they're both going to be hired, I would guess, before the end of this regular season? He wanted to beat the other teams to Mike Vrabel or Bill Belichick. That better be the reason they did this.
So Woody Johnson started the season and said to himself, if the Jets don't look great by a quarter, maybe a third away into the season, I'm going hard after Vrabel or Belichick. I'm going to beat everybody else to it. That's your theory on the Jets?
Yes. Yes.
And
Izzy, understand this. You have Robert Saleh. They're headed it like the Jets have had worse starts than this, okay? It hasn't been great, but it hasn't been the worst, okay? And they have a game for first place. Why would you take the head coach away from that 6 days before the game unless you were going to make a major move? A major move. So maybe Woody sees how this game goes with the Buffalo Bills, but at some point, he's going to be talking to Belichick or Vrabel if he hasn't done so already.
I just think you look at the situation and you see how bad the amounts of changes that they made, the offensive play caller. I thought Hackett was, Aaron Rodgers' guy, and then he gets sort of demoted in that sense. And you just looked at it and said, look, this is just a disaster. It's going to only get uglier. Might as well just scramble everything right away. Like, I don't think he had that idea of, let me maybe go get Vrabel or Belichick. First of all, I don't think Belichick and Aaron Rodgers can coexist, especially not on short term.
Really?
Yeah. Not without an offseason, not without a whole, maybe even an ayahuasca session together.
But if you're Aaron Rodgers and you're playing for the now, and that's all he has is now, right now, this year, maybe next year, wouldn't you want the best head coach to give you the best chance of winning?
I would. I don't think Aaron Rodgers thinks that he needs Bill Belichick. I think Aaron Rodgers can say, give me a rah-rah guy and a decent offensive coordinator, and I'll take it from there.
The problem is his decent offensive coordinator is a hack. Right? Like, the whole idea was
a demoted hack
that they took play calling duties from. But if you look at it, Aaron Rodgers' guy was Nathaniel Hackett. We know he's a bad offensive play caller because they've had the worst offense through 4 weeks. And then they put it to another guy who's also a bad play caller. So it just looks like they have a ton of bad play callers in that offensive system, and then you're going to bring in another coach who's going to not mesh with those guys. It's a recipe for disaster.
But I could see this happening during the conversation between Aaron and Woody Johnson, where Aaron is getting Robert Saleh fired, and they concoct a plan so it doesn't look like Aaron's running the team, and that plan is, hey, Hackett, demotion.
Well, that sort of leans into as soon as I saw Woody Johnson's quote saying it's probably, and I don't know if you've done this list before, it seems to be right up your alley, the top 5 lies that are said in sports on the regular.
I think I've done it.
Because, it sounds familiar. Because the owner saying this decision was mine and mine alone, definitely top 5 of lies said every single time.
Especially when you're going out of your way to say it. Like, you're going out of your way to make the point to the media and the fans, hey, this is on me. This had nothing to do with him. We all know it had something to do with him. We all know it. And I don't care if he resents me or anyone for saying that. He's earned this.
Well, it should have something to do with other people, because anybody making a unilateral decision like that and shocking everybody else in the building, probably not great.
And by the way, if Woody said, hey, do you want me to fire Robert Saleh? And Aaron's response was, yes, I'm good with that. Totally good with that.
My favorite is so-and-so is our guy.
That's a good
Because it's
one.
always, the subtext is so-and-so, not our guy. Josh Rosen, not our guy.
How about when a coach, after they lose a game, like in the NFL, the loss is on me? I don't think he thinks that. I think he thinks the loss is on them.
How about any player who says, I never read anything that's out there?
Oh, that's the biggest lie.
That's the biggest lie.
That's the biggest lie. But
Tua?
Stugotz, I think they have to. That one you have to say, because if they say the opposite, they get crushed, right? Like,
yes.
That loss is on the quarterback. It's like, you're throwing your team under the bus.
Right,
you have to lie and say, that one's on me, guys.
It's like coaching 101. The wins,
Yep.
the players get the credit. The losses, the coach takes all the blame.
Leadership, baby.
Yeah, that's leadership, right? But it's fake leadership in most cases.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
You just got to sell it, Tony.
So I was thinking about, because we're talking football here, going to top 5 drives, but I don't even know if top 5 drives has anything to do with football. What was the genesis of your top 5 drives?
We were saying yesterday that the drive into work was the smoothest drive we have ever had. Me, Chris Cody, anyone who comes up from Broward County.
Me.
It's the drive after
Down from Broward County.
Thank you. A hurricane threat which did not impact your actual area.
Right.
Because everyone stayed home yesterday, so
Like a
no one was
snow
on
day
the
where it
roads.
doesn't snow.
Yes. So that's where it came from. So I have top 5.
Okay, so that's not
here.
the natural transition. So we'll naturally move to
Right.
NBA basketball.
But you asked me, and I didn't know what
That's
to
why
do with
I
it,
just
right.
wanted to
I
get
kind of want to
clarity.
hear about the drives, though. Are there any golf drives? Like
There are no
pricing?
golf drives. There's only bad. You don't remember good golf drives. You only remember bad,
Bad
ones,
ones,
like
yeah.
Mickelson, U.S. Open, 18th
Shanking
hole,
one. George
right? One off the roof, the roof. I think it's roof or roof. Tomato situation. So I do have top 5 drives. I do not have a drive from a golf tournament. No.
Darn.
Do we want to go now, or do you
Number
want to
5.
All right, we're here.
The drive Denver Broncos against the Cleveland Browns, 1987. John Elway took them 98 yards on the road, got the Broncos to the Super Bowl.
Classic.
So it is a football list.
Number 4, the drive for 5. Islanders won 4 Stanley Cups in the 80s, back to back to back to back. I had the drive for 5 poster up in my room. They didn't get it done. They lost to Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Finals because Wayne Gretzky took over the sport.
So the drive for 5
it was a great
is just
drive.
a reminder that they won 4.
We stalled right at the
they
very
lost
end, but it was a
one,
good
yeah.
drive. It was. It was
The
a great
most
drive.
memorable drive is the one that they didn't win. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's the drive for 5. Yes.
Naturally.
Number 3, Ocean Drive.
Ocean Drive.
Huh?
I like Ocean Drive. I
Used to
mean,
work
A lot of memories there.
I like
Yeah.
the art deco.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
Not my
little
favorite
hotels.
drive.
A lot of murders. Yeah.
Perhaps this is number 2, Rodeo Drive.
Oh, yes. It's not my first rodeo. I love Rodeo Drive.
What'd you say? Your first rodeo. That's good.
I think I stole that line from like
Jeremy?
No, was it? No, I think it was from Mike Myers, maybe.
Number 1, the drive home from work when you have a week off on the horizon.
Oh.
I will sit
Christmas.
in traffic for hours and not complain. I don't care how long it takes me to get home. I'm off for a week.
Just let everybody in. It's like, no, go ahead, merge. That's fine.
Are you
I'm
off
good.
next week?
No,
Okay.
no.
You didn't tell Billy, so.
I never know what's going on.
I'm here. I mean,
I'm just checking.
I'm just saying, when you have that drive home and you know you have 10 days off because you have the 2 weekends and then you have the full week,
Stugotz.
that is a great drive.
It's a great drive, and that drive is always the drive where I'm like, instead of putting on one of my normal sports podcasts, I'm like, I'm going to listen to a movie podcast because I'm not going to be talking about sports tomorrow.
Cinephobe.
That means you're relaxed. You're on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kind of like a lazy river.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I watched yesterday, Jess? Because we
What?
talked about this last week.
What did you
Last week
watch?
I was.
I watched Halloween 3. What did you
really?
watch?
There is one?
I watched the Eli Manning costume show with Baker Mayfield.
Oh, really?
I watched the 30-minute
All
episode.
30 minutes?
I
All
watched
30
the whole
minutes.
thing.
Wow.
It's a full episode, so it's like I guess they're doing this with multiple people.
It's on
Eli
ESPN
Manning is
Plus?
the host. No, Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Eli has a show where now, I guess, because of his, Penn State prank that he did, he's going to have people dressed up and kind of interacting with fans, whatever. And it was a Baker one, and I thought it was just like, okay, it was a long bit that they did. No, it's a whole episode. It was so wholesome, so great. It was so nice. You should watch it.
Baker, I will watch it. Baker's he's a real winner lately. I feel
Yeah.
like the whole world's kind of rallied behind
Yeah.
Baker. We're like, you know what?
Real sweetheart
You're
in this
a
episode.
sweetie
Yeah,
pie.
I saw him and I was like, I like him.
Anybody
I
who
like
can
this
still
Baker.
get Tom Brady rankled, I'm a fan of. Like
Right.
Tom Brady acting like a 15-year-old in the booth saying, hey, I thought winning was
Yeah.
everything. And it's just like, man, when is he going to get over that? When is he going to stop being the jerk?
winning
You're not
is everything.
competing
I
anymore.
mean-
Yeah, but he's not playing anymore. Like,
He was funny.
go ahead
Trying to
and
win
let
the
Baker
media now.
Mayfield have a
Baker?
moment.
Yeah, funny guy. Baker
course.
He is
Mayfield.
funny, yeah.
Likeable.
Dancing.
I
Dance
liked
as well.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're really leaning into that disguise show thing because the fact that they're doing that with Baker Mayfield and all of these other people on Amazon, and then they're also creating the show with Glenn Powell where he's doing it in a scripted show. It's sort of like right now with the Menendez brothers where they have a documentary out and there's also the show with actors in it where they always take the same stories and the OJ Made in America and also People vs. OJ at the same time. They're clearly leaning into, hey, this worked, so let's do as much of it as possible.
Listen,
but
I
with
don't wanna-
Baker, I'll watch all of it.
I don't want to ruin this for Eli Manning. Is Peyton Manning. Is Peyton Manning part of that too? I don't want to ruin it for them, but listen, any other college coach, any other coach, assistant coach in the country, if some unassuming looking guy comes in and starts throwing 70-yard bombs down the field, it's probably a prank. You should just start guessing which quarterback this is now. I don't think you can do a third one of these.
Well, here's the thing: is that they wait until the end for that, right? So he had a whole
For the reveal.
Yeah. It was like a 4-hour tour of the facility in the preseason. It was just for season ticket holders, and some of the stuff they throw out there, like they had this giant screen, and he just asked questions. It's like, Baker, come on, you're gonna draw too much attention to yourself. Where it's one of those giant projection screens in their meeting room or whatever, and he just raised his hand. He's like, "Is that 1080p?" And it's like, Baker, why are we asking the specifics of the television here? Yeah.
4K now.
Good little episode. If you guys have about 32 minutes at your
I do.
disposal, I'd suggest it.
Well, first on my
should.
list, I still got to get to this NBA. What's the NBA one called? Starting Five? Is
Starting
that what it
Five,
is?
yeah.
Dude, my wife has
Starting
been
Five.
locked in on Starting Five. She's on episode 5 of Starting Five. She's like, wow, NBA is exciting. I told you.
I only saw 2 clips. I saw the Jimmy Butler talking about his father clip, and then I saw the end of the episode where they kind of introduce Anthony Edwards. Is that what that is at the end of an episode?
I don't know.
And they are trying to paint him as such a badass. And I like it. Don't get me wrong. I am a little bit on the same page.
I'm not certain he wants to be painted that way, though. That's the funny thing about it.
Anthony Edwards?
I think he does.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
100%.
I think he definitely
Because
does.
they're making comparisons, and he's like, no, I'm not that guy. I'm not Kobe. Is he doing the respect thing?
Of course.
Yeah.
He's doing the, hey, it's all of my team. Don't worry about it.
There was a podcast that I saw a clip of. I'm not sure the podcast. I'm sorry about that. But a guy, David Jacoby, was on. You remember Jacoby from Jalen and Jacoby, right? Where he said, I'll give you a take that nobody's got. Ant is overrated. And I kind of agree with
Stugotz
him.
had that take last year.
I did, yeah.
Right, because of the Michael Jordan comparisons, right?
Well, just because I think he's overrated.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's a fun player. He's going to be probably the best. He's going to be one of the best 2 guards ever if he keeps on this path. But he's not quite there yet. Like, he had a great series against Phoenix Suns and his, his boyhood idol Kevin Durant. But what happened to him the next series? Like, I think whenever he struggles or shoots inefficiently, people aren't going to be on him yet. They're not going to give him all types of pressure yet. So I do think Anthony Edwards sort of, you know what? It's got to be a skating segment for Chris Cody. Right at the beginning of the NBA season, Anthony Edwards skating. Because if he's shooting inefficiently this year, I guarantee you nobody's going to complain, or they're just going to blame Julius Randle for clogging the floor.
The problem is we go right to Michael Jordan with the comparisons, which is totally unfair to Anthony Edwards because you put the expectations in an unreasonable place. Like, how about we start with being Dwayne Wade first?
Yeah,
well, how about we start with making it to an NBA final?
Well, it's a great point with Dwayne Wade, right? Because in year 3, he took down a Pistons team that had won a title and then went and beat the Mavericks, putting up 40-something points in multiple playoff games in the finals. So if you can get to be Dwayne Wade, then you could take the step to being Kobe and Michael and those guys. And Anthony Edwards is amazing, but like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a better basketball player than Anthony Edwards is right now.
Right.
And he needs to continue to ascend, but what it is that he has that some of these other guys don't have is he does have the it factor. He has that swagger about him.
Yep.
He has a confidence, and it's a relaxed confidence off the court, and then a cocky and competitive confidence on the court. So what it is we're all trying to will him into being the guy we hope he is from a personality standpoint, because he's so much fun to watch and he's so much fun to pay attention to.
You can stop about 3 stops short of Michael Jordan when you start the comparison.
Oh, yeah.
And there was another comparison.
That's Dwayne Wade. I like climbing the stairs, and
Yeah.
each stair has a name. It's Wade, and then it's LeBron, and then it's Kobe.
You got to get to Jerry West, Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant. You got to jump
Kobe
over
and
all
LeBron.
those people. So it's a silly comparison. And I saw, or at least Tony showed me, a different, what I thought to be silly comparison from our boy Tom Haberstroh, who said, now his name is Reed Sheppard. He's a rookie for the Houston Rockets. He is from Kentucky. He's of the one-and-done modes of Kentucky guards where you're just like, I don't know if I saw enough of him out of college, but maybe he's going to be something in the pros. Same thing happened with Tyler Hero. Same thing happened with, probably Jamal Murray wasn't one-and-doner. But Tom Haberstroh made the comparison, said Reed Sheppard is the closest thing to who, Tony?
To Steph Curry.
Get the hell out of here.
This is the headline. NBA analyst believes Reed Sheppard is the closest thing he's seen to Stephen Curry in a long time. Wow. That is loaded. So we jump from, all right, Ant is Michael Jordan to now Reed Sheppard. Anthony Edwards has done something in the NBA.
Right.
Not maybe playoff-wise, but he is a force in the NBA. Reed Sheppard hasn't stepped on an NBA court yet and played a single second of NBA basketball officially, and he's already being compared to the greatest shooter we will ever see in our lifetimes.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. This was considered a semi-weak draft, right?
Sure.
Reed Sheppard was drafted, third?
That's right.
Shocking. I think that he probably shot up the draft boards.
Curry was 7th or 8th, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And Reed is joining a Rockets team that, frankly, is pretty loaded. Like, they've got Jalen Green, who's just made a jump last year, probably going to make another jump. Amen Thompson's going to, if he doesn't get hurt, that dude's going to
Are
dominate.
you telling us
in
the
his
Rockets
second
are going to be
season.
sneaky good?
Sengun's good.
They're so. If Sengun was hurt the second half of last season wasn't there. Not even mentioning like Jabari Smith. You got a lot of guys that are just really Cam Whitmore.
A very young team, too.
Very young. And yet you're telling me that this Reed Shepherd is so good that he is going to infiltrate that that 9-man group and not only be a contributor, but give you flashes of Steph Curry. That to me sounds so crazy. But then again, he was drafted, as Stu said, 4 or 5 spots higher than Steph Curry. So the expectation should be there, no?
He shot 52% from 3 his only season at Kentucky. But when you look at what Steph Curry was able to, like Steph Curry, and I think Tom Haberstroh, I think Amin, somebody has done something on this, like the moment basketball changed, the way that we play basketball now, changed when Steph Curry got into the league. Is Reed Shepherd the kind of guy that is going to change the way basketball is going to be played?
No, well, if you're following Steph Curry, then you're not then again changing it. You're just sort of sliding into his void.
You're doing
Kobe
what
to
Kobe
Michael
did with
leaves.
Michael. Yeah.
Right.
All right.
And again, like, is he similar size, Reed Shepherd? He's probably around 6'5", if I remember right. But there's a couple of things that have to happen there. Yes, he was the number 3 pick. Is he going to be a featured player for this team? No. Like early on in his career, the Warriors weren't supposed to be anything. There was Steph, there was Monte Ellis, there was Clay in there, but they were featuring those guys because it's like, wow, these guys are good. There's no chance. There's no chance that with Sengun and with Green, with all these players in there, that Reed Shepherd is going to be somebody they even come close to featuring. So how are we ever going to get to the Steph Curry comparison? And this, I'm asking.
How about we
because
get
of how
to
much I
Isaiah
respect
Thomas
Tom
first?
Haberstroh.
How about we get to Isaiah Thomas first?
Right, the steps,
The
right?
steps, yes.
Steph Curry's on that second step. Well,
Let's
probably
get to
the first
Kyle
step of
Korver
shooters.
first.
Well, on the steps of point guard, Steph Curry might be,
Might
at
be
the very
second, but
top.
shooters. Let's
Right.
go shooters. He's
Shooters.
the very top.
Well, no,
for
Larry
sure.
Bird is.
Wow. We're
Shot
still
for your
doing
life.
shot for your life. You're still going Larry.
I think Bird's the better shooter. That's all.
Maybe they share the top
Steph
step.
Curry.
It's crazy, Tony. I know.
I do appreciate that the front of the quote from Haberstroh is, he's not Steph Curry, but he's the closest I've seen to it in a long time. And his argument was sort of, this rookie class is weak. He expects that this will be the best player from this rookie class. He expects that by the end of the season, a lot of people will be seeing more of Reed Shepherd. He might crack that rotation. And his biggest argument is that the volume wasn't there on his three-point shooting at Kentucky. He shot a really high percentage that he expects because the Rockets could use to have a guy just firing off threes and opening up the floor, that his volume will get there and the efficiency will remain the same. And so as a rookie, you'll feel like, hey, here's a guy who has the same height and weight as Steph Curry running around shooting a bunch of threes.
So Tom's just saying he's a really good shooter.
Yeah.
We could have stopped.
Yes, because the
way
thing that makes
before
Steph Curry isn't just the shooting. It's the movement. It's the balance. It's every shot is the same every single time. There's no other shooter out there like him. When people tried to make the Trae Young comparison, and then you watch Trae Young play, and it's like, they don't play the same. They take crazy
He's just shooting
shots,
from half
but
court.
they don't play the same. And so I'm curious because because I respect Tom Haberstroh and his basketball opinion and how much he watches, and because the Rockets are my second team ever since Amen Thompson got drafted over there. And so if that happens, I'm all about it. I'm just trying to temper my own expectations here because that's crazy. We got to take the stairs.
Jess or no? Colorado, Kansas State is a sneaky big game.
Ooh, I'm going to go with Jess. Every Big 12 game this year, I think, is a sneaky big game because the Big 12 is a conference where I don't really know who the best team is and who's going to win. Currently, Texas Tech is at the top of the conference with 3 conference wins, but BYU is up there. UCF, unfortunately, they're out of it, Jer Bear. I'm sorry.
I know.
But a lot of teams have like one. They're like 1-1 in the conference so far, and so as conference play opens up, I think they're all big games. Colorado, like we've seen them be pretty explosive at times on their offense. They've got one of the best players in college football playing for them. Someone that I think should be in your contention to win the Heisman Trophy. He's appointment television.
You be shocked if Texas lost to Oklahoma. Jess or no?
Jess. I do think rivalry games. There's always
Ewers is back though.
Yeah, Ewers is back. They're always going to be kind of weird and funky, but I do think Texas is a lot better than Oklahoma because I think Oklahoma will struggle to score points. Now, if they can keep Texas from keep them low scoring, like 20 points, 21 points, 24 points, I think they have a real shot. But I think it's going to be hard for them to score multiple touchdowns unless they're doing it on defense, unless they're turning the ball over on defense, getting a pick six here, getting an interception there, forced fumble there. I think Venables is a great defensive coordinator and is going to have this defense ready to go. He's obviously the head coach, not the defensive coordinator, but this is his defense.
I have a quick update here that I'd like to run by you guys in terms of the bucket of death, because I don't want to head into the weekend with controversy, because I feel like what happens is there's a lot of controversy and then people get mad and say, oh, you guys aren't taking it seriously. So a fan reached out on Twitter and pointed out that in The Wizard of Oz, this fan asked, should the person not be allowed to take anyone from Kansas as well? Which is a great question.
Because they're not in Kansas.
So like
anymore.
a Kansas, Kansas State. Kansas is a big, thing in The Wizard of Oz. So should we allow Kansas to be in play for any of this?
Is anybody ever going to pick a Kansas City?
Well,
City.
they're
not. They're Chiefs.
Kansas City.
But isn't the whole point we're not in Kansas anymore?
I'm just asking the questions because I don't want to have the controversy and the
It's a good
loopholes.
caveat there.
I wouldn't take the Jayhawks at all this season in football.
Ever.
They're off to a terrible start. It seems like the magic is gone there.
But is
What about the Wildcats?
Kansas City allowed as part of, because Kansas is in the name,
Is it?
even if it's not
Kansas
in
City,
Kansas?
Right.
We'll
But
think
then you're
about
not in
that.
Kansas
we'll think
anymore.
about that.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
which
to-
would make it more
actually better.
well,
Kansas
then
City
could you
Chiefs.
take any team that's
Kan-
not Kansas?
Kansas City Chiefs are not in Kansas, so it's more Wizard of Oz. I would say.
Let's talk about this some
I
more.
agree.
At
Yeah,
another
we could
time.
think about it.
This information would have been great 30 minutes
Well,
ago. when I picked
I'm
them.
asking because like
just came in. I mean,
I'd
what
like
do
to
you want to do?
loosen the iron fist and make it a tin fist at the moment, and offer you the opportunity to change.
You
if
know
you'd
they're
like.
just going to have the commissioner back on and have Sarah Spade
Well, I am the
back on.
commissioner.
No, I mean, the ex-commissioner and Sarah Spade. We have a Refran Del Dia today.
I picked the Chiefs.
Do we?
Did
oh,
you?
Okay. Well, we're
I don't know if that's allowed. It's still.
You
we
already
have to
took the
table it.
Lions.
Yeah, you already taken.
I
the
have
Lions.
the
Yeah.
Chiefs.
And there's an
right here.
addendum in the
We
rules.
can't
so-
both
No,
pick
no,
the
no, no, no.
Chiefs.
That's for next week.
Okay. All right. That's great.
All
Roy,
right.
no one made you choose the Lions really quickly. You could have taken time. and
Yeah.
looked at the
I
college
was
football
taking
schedule.
time, Jessica.
We're the Tigers.
Yeah.
Tarek Skubal.
Right. We heard you the first time.
Yeah.
Just want to mention.
Okay.
Dímelo, mi gente! Wow, it's been a long time since we've done one of these.
Can I just
Dan-
take a quick second to mention that when I was doing makeup and I was just hanging out in the, what do we call the common area over there, it felt like I was back in my childhood with my dad and his friends, like playing dominoes, like in the other room, and just like laughing and cutting it up with you and Frank. And it was just like, man,
yeah.
this reminds me of my childhood.
Frankie's like my brother from another mother. Refran Del Dia is presented by Hulu. Don't miss the new Spanish language original series La Máquina. All episodes are streaming now on Hulu. I've been watching. Very exciting show about boxing too, if you're into that kind of thing. Yeah, me and Frankie go way back to a couple years ago. But it's like our souls have been friends for longer. That's my boy. I love Frankie.
Soulmates.
It's nice.
Soul
Tony.
buddies.
Soul buddies, exactly right. All right, guys, let's remind people how to do this. We have phrases on a wheel. We spin said wheel. Whatever phrase comes up, I tell you. Yeah, Billy. So you're gonna have to find the wheel. You know how this works,
yeah.
Billy. I mean, I don't know why you don't.
I'm not
surprised.
the EP, so
Right. Yeah.
Here we go.
He
Hold
woke
on.
up this morning. He was not the EP.
yeah.
Right.
Well, whatever. Not my problem.
Yeah.
There we go. All right,
Hey,
it's
we found
spinning.
it.
It's spinning. It's spinning. Ooh. Oh, an interesting one. Okay, so this one doesn't really mean what I'm gonna say.
Huh.
If that makes sense, okay?
It doesn't.
Today's
Perfectly clear.
Refran del Dia, brought to you by La Máquina on Hulu, is Por si las moscas.
Ah.
Por si las moscas.
Billy,
What?
can you hit the... You have to hit the sounder, Billy.
Fanfare.
Fanfare. the antithesis of that,
Nailed it.
actually.
That's
The opposite, yeah.
Not,
Doesn't that have something to do with a fly? What's the literal translation?
Thank you. The literal translation is, if for the flies.
If for the fly.
Yeah, por si las moscas. If for the flies. But what it really means is, I'm going to do this just in case. Por si las moscas is just in
Yes,
case. I'm
yes.
gonna.
Por si
I'm-
acaso.
Por si acaso, but por si las moscas. That's better? You can say it on mic.
Por si acaso is better.
Por si acaso is better, but that's
No,
not the
por si
same.
las moscas
Por
is
si las
better.
moscas.
Yeah, exactly.
Just in case
Just in
there's
case,
flies.
I'm going to bring this food home. You know when you're at a big family dinner and they're like, bring some food home, por si las moscas. And then you're like, You know what? Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay,
And then you
how
take
do you
the
say
huge-
boogers in Spanish?
mocos?
Yeah,
Por si
mocos.
las mocos is very close.
I feel
Yeah.
like this
So it's-
whole week was,
Por si la moca?
yeah,
Yeah.
just in case.
Yeah, exactly
we were
right.
ready for the hurricane.
Hurricane preparedness,
Just
por
in
si la
case.
moca.
We got
That's
very
exactly right.
Exactly
That's
right.
what
down
all
here.
those people
Well
who
done,
go to
Scott.
Publix and just wipe out all the water, except for Dasani. Nobody wants Dasani water. I saw one
Dasani
video.
water's not bad.
of
Nothing wrong
all,
with Dasani
I
water.
saw a video of all the shelves out, and there was nothing but Dasani water
Look to
on
your
the bottom.
left right there. It's,
Big old bottle.
What happened? Oh,
Wow.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got it. I
Yeah.
took it all.
Hey,
Yeah.
I didn't say I don't like Dasani. I was just saying what was available at Publix,
just-
or
yeah,
it's
he's
possible that
noticed other people
Dasani
don't
we love like it.
just stocks up more at these Publix, so maybe they're just
But you
better
make
than
sure
the
you
other
get it por si
water.
la moca just
la
in
moca.
case. Just in case Milton made a little bit of a swerve. We had everything ready. Again,
I
just in
used to
case.
think that had to do with mosquitoes instead of flies for some reason. I don't know why, because in my mind it was like, hey, let's do this so we don't get bitten by mosquitoes. But it had nothing to do with that.
No.
It was just too
The
literal.
beautiful thing about Spanish is that sometimes words in English and Spanish mean the same thing. So mosquito in English, mosquito.
Mosquito, yeah.
There's
Can I tell you,
that's
when
the
I was a
Spanish word,
child-
That's a
mosquito.
cogni. It is.
Attaboy.
Look it up.
No,
Tony
I like it.
knows.
I agree with you. I don't even have to
Right.
look it up. I like it.
Yep.
Oh, can I tell you my new
Words
favorite
that
thing?
sound the same in English and Spanish. How about that? And mean the same. Cogni.
My new favorite thing on the show
No.
My mind is blown.
is when Tony's right about something and confidently right about something, but Dan thinks he's wrong, and then Dan gets proven wrong. Oh man! I mean, not
Makes
that
my
Tony
day.
needs a bigger head, but it's such a great feeling just to watch. And then Dan's like, what did it happen? What was the biblical reference that you mentioned?
Writing on the wall, yeah.
Ah, yes.
And I knew it. But,
Just
you know,
full of
again,
information.
some useless, some not.
He's full of something.
Hey, what do you want to do? All right.
Okay.
sorry, it had.
I deserve it.
Yeah.
So who peed during this lazy
Splash.
river?
Stugotz did.
I did for sure.
Jeremy's been quiet.
Multiple times.
I never saw him get up once.
I don't really smell anything though. Doesn't really smell
I
like
smell
chlorine
it.
in here.
It smells terrible.
I think that's Willow.
Smells like heaters.
Check the call.
Wow.
No,
I did
Willow
get that
would
that
never.
puff of smoke in the air after he came in after the break, and it was just like, wow, I am living Dan Le Batard's life. Like that was the secondhand smoke.
It's like
that you
smelling
don't get
salts.
from
You're like,
everywhere
ah.
else. Yeah.
I'm awake.
It'll either wake me up or give me lung cancer, but
They
either
put
way.
me in front of a quarterback when he's concussed.
Take a rip of the cig.
the Lance Stevenson of recovering from concussions.
When football was football.